Welcome back to Wrestling World. For today's video, we'll be taking a look at the special WWE mention of CM Punk, the big leaks that's causing trouble for WWE, RVD's potential WWE return, and more. Let's start things off with a mention of CM Punk. Mentioning CM Punk has always been a touchy and questionable situation in WWE. He wasn't mentioned for years after his departure from WWE in 2014. CM Punk finally made a partial return to WWE programming by debuting on the WWE Backstage show. Things seemed like they were getting better. WWE even advertised the fact that CM Punk was now on WWE Backstage. Seth Rollins was even having a little back and forth with CM Punk on Twitter, challenging him to a WrestleMania match, and even WWE covered that situation there for a bit. But after CM Punk exchanged some heavier blows with The Miz and others on Twitter, it appears that WWE reverted to not mentioning him again. Well, we had two CM Punk mentions this week that had fans talking. WWE took to their Instagram stories to post the longest title reigns of the past decade. WWE fans were surprised to see WWE actually acknowledge CM Punk's 434-day WWE title reign in their official Instagram story. It didn't stop there at all, as if the Instagram story wasn't enough. Bryan, one of CM Punk's closest friends, name-dropped Punk during WWE's Talking Smack. Talking Smack airs on Saturday mornings, and it's not live at all. So WWE had the chance to edit the mention out of the show if they would have liked to, but they decided to leave it in. Bryan had this to say on Talking Smack when speaking to Paul Heyman. I have a message for you to give to Roman Reigns. I want you to give this message to Roman Reigns. I am no longer putting myself on the back burner. I am no longer putting other people first. I'm going out to take what's mine, and that's the reign I should have had before CM Punk, and that's the best damn wrestler in the world. So Bryan feels strong and passionate about where he is as a WWE superstar and overall wrestler. CM Punk had a popular catchphrase of being the best in the world, so whenever a superstar like Shane McMahon or others call themselves the best in the world, fans just automatically think of CM Punk since he was related to that line. So Bryan is saying that he should have had the title of best wrestler in the world, even before CM Punk started using it. So it was a quick mention of CM Punk on WWE programming, which, as you already know, is very hard to come by nowadays in WWE. So whenever it does happen, it just becomes a headline. Bryan looks to not only capture the title of being best wrestler in the world, he also looks to capture the WWE Universal title from Roman Reigns if he can defeat Jay in that cage match and earn the title match against Roman Reigns at Fastlane. It's great that we're finally getting Roman Reigns versus Bryan, but it's unfortunate that Roman Reigns versus Edge was already confirmed for Wrestlemania. It sort of takes a bit of life out of Bryan versus Roman Reigns feud, since we already know that we're going to see Roman versus Edge at WrestleMania. It might have been a better choice to have Edge make his decision to face Roman Reigns, and then have Bryan start a storyline with Roman a few days later. If Edge was lurking in the background and thinking about his decision while Roman Reigns versus Bryan was taking place, then that would have at least given the Roman versus Bryan storyline some time to breathe. But the fact that Roman versus Edge is already confirmed hurts the Bryan storyline just a little. There's even more plot holes here that Edge's character even pointed out on Smackdown himself. Edge approached Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville on Smackdown and questioned WWE's logic of Bryan getting a title match before the Royal Rumble winner does. And Edge's character does have a good point. It doesn't really make sense to see superstars becoming #1 contenders for the world titles right now, even though they just lost the Royal Rumble match. It's a good point and a small flaw in WWE's logic. How does a Royal Rumble loser get a title match before a Royal Rumble winner? It's a great point brought up by Edge's character. So that seems to be the only flaw with Roman versus Bryan. WWE already has their WrestleMania main event set in stone, and Bryan doesn't even have the slightest chance to win the title at all. So that takes away from the story just a bit. But we'll have to wait and see how Bryan versus Roman Reigns actually turns out. WWE leaks have always been a massive problem for WWE, and this year is no different. There's unfortunately been a lot of leaks when it comes to WrestleMania, and this reportedly has Vince McMahon and others furious and locking down all WrestleMania talk. News of Sasha Banks vs. Bianca Belair at WrestleMania came out long before Bianca made her official decision. News of WWE's plans for Bad Bunny at WrestleMania have been out since the Royal Rumble, and the news of Edge vs. Roman Reigns at WrestleMania also came out long before Royal Rumble, so that's a few massive leaks for WWE. The biggest leak being the Bad Bunny WrestleMania plans, because that affects what's going on with the WWE title right now. Bad Bunny started his feud with The Miz and John Morrison at Royal Rumble, and it was revealed that WWE apparently wanted Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison at WrestleMania. And since that WrestleMania match leaked out early, it basically ruined The Miz's second WWE title reign, because we expected him to lose the WWE title right away since he has a match with Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. So the leak of Bad Bunny's WrestleMania match really affected how fans viewed The Miz's second WWE title reign, and WWE apparently wasn't a fan of that fact. As a result of all these leaks and things getting out about WrestleMania, it's now being reported that Vince McMahon and WWE officials are shutting down the WrestleMania talk and keeping everything even more on the down low to avoid future leaks, which probably is the smart move to make. It's now being reported that after all those leaks got out from the WWE superstars, WrestleMania plans and directions are no longer being shared with other wrestlers. It's unfortunate that it had to be that way, but that's honestly the only way to prevent leaks. Similar to Roman Reigns' return, that was perfectly kept safe from any spoilers. No dirt sheets or anyone online had the pleasure to leak Roman's return, because the only ones that knew about it were Roman and Vince McMahon. Of course, there was no crowd to hide Roman from at SummerSlam 2020, but it was reported that WWE kept Roman hidden from the other superstars and backstage personnel as well, just to avoid any leaks from being spread. And it was absolutely perfectly executed. Everyone was legitimately surprised by Roman's return, and that's how it should be for most of these big moments in WWE. So it looks like WWE is reverting to keeping all the plans on lockdown to prevent this sort of thing from happening again. WrestleMania seems like it's going to be a big show this year, and with all the plans now being on lockdown, hopefully they get some big surprises on the way. It's been a while since RVD was a part of the WWE, but the former WWE champion could have a new collaboration with WWE on the way. RVD had this to say when speaking with Inside the Ropes. They, WWE, contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested and that they wanted to make a documentary on me, and I said sure, I'd be interested. We haven't actually shot much of it yet, but it may come out in May, so we're going to be shooting a lot of it real soon. So I'm excited about it. I'm talking to them, WWE, about a book. We're in talks. So that's some great news for RVD. It looks like we can expect to see a WWE documentary of him later on this spring. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? What did you think of Daniel Bryan name-dropping CM Punk, the WrestleMania leaks, and RVD's reveal? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.